Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast for those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man, how would it go? We talking one of a kind, collectibles. Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man, don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Hello, and welcome to the Figure Booth channel here where we talk about the modern day collector and the ups and downs that they go through. We go over pre-orders, we share our weekly plastic confessions, and we even do interviews with those in the toy community. I'm your host, Josh, aka Prime to the First, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Nate Dizzle. What's up, Nate?
Hey guys, this is Nate, aka FigureFan_Nate, and you've reached episode 75, which we're calling Geeking Out.
What? Man, what is these Easter eggs that we come up, these super creative decoder ring episode titles? I wonder who could possibly be on the show, because it's an interview. It's a guest interview show. Hopefully you guys guessed it. If you didn't, throw your guesses down in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. But we're all geeks here, right?
Yeah.
You know, we're talking toys all day.
Yep.
Well, not all day, but at least every
all
week,
day.
Twice a week. And this guy, he's got his own YouTube where he talks toys in detail, does toy reviews, and he's got his own Instagram where he does toy photography. So yeah, he's a self-identified geek.
And he's had a killer year. Yeah. 2022 was the geek year.
Definitely. He's come a long way over the last 2 years with his channel. We're happy to have him, fans of his content. You might have guessed it by now, but let's go ahead and introduce the Geek Effect.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, my dude? Welcome to the Figure Booth.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you on, man. And you're a fellow geek, so we self-identify, and we kind of relate in that way. Like, we're all geeks.
Absolutely.
And it's great that we have this community of people that we can, you know, we've talked about this on the show before. When I first started collecting, it's not something that I really share with a whole lot of people. It was sort of like, hey, I'd go on Instagram and do my own thing, but I didn't have a lot of friends that I would talk to that I was close with. And then you start finding this toy community of people that are all sharing that same passion. So, you know, now it's like, it's been a few years, but now it's like, I'm not ashamed of it. Not that I was really before, but
yeah,
to say that I'm a geek and I collect toys, I'm like proud of it now. So it's cool that you kind of self-identify as, hey, I am the Geek Effect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your backstory. Like, how'd you come about with the name, and how long you've been collecting?
So prior to me starting the channel and like getting into the whole realm of action figures and kind of getting back into action figures, I used to run a channel by the name of Vision Bricks for about 5 years or so. It was dedicated to Lego content. I used to make my own builds out of Lego and share my process on it and just about the mock and what it was based on. A lot of stuff based on Marvel, a lot of stuff based on my own unique concepts of like what I wanted to build. And then close to, I believe this was 2021, a friend of mine by the name of Jeff McElwee and I were talking about just like his interest in the hobby of collecting action figures and how he thought like based on the content that I was producing at the time, I could actually offer something unique to the figure community, and that I should probably be able to join the hobby and like get that a shot. So I did that. And then that's how we ended up coming up with the Geek Effect and just sharing my perspective on the action figure hobby and just the figures that I collect, just geeking out about it.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of came up with the name.
That's
Man,
awesome.
and kudos to you, because I think it takes a lot of not only courage, but a lot of confidence to be, hey, I'm going to throw my name in the hat. In a space where you sometimes feel like, oh, there's too much already. There's already so many YouTube reviewers. There's already like a show that covers action figure news. But it's honestly like a breath of fresh air. Like when I came across your channel, I was like, man, this dude's like, it's something else. It's a different flavor. jumped on a bunch of your streams. You did giveaways right off the bat, and then just I think some of the things that like Dan who brought to our channel last year was just consistency. Like you were just killing it, and I was like, man, this dude, like we need to have this guy on the show. And then I just seeing your growth, man, hats off to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be
for
to be a part of the community. It's been like really fun so far. Like within the past year, just getting to know everyone, getting to talk with everyone.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to doing more of it this year.
Little history between the Geek Effect and myself. I enabled him to get the Mayfix RoboCop. Yep.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That
I
is
got
one
points.
of my probably that's one of
You
my
hear that,
favorite
Mario?
Mayfix videos.
Write that ish down. That's points. He's probably not. He's gonna take points away. But yeah, that was funny. That RoboCop. That's probably one of my favorite Mayfix.
Mm-hmm. I think I need to get my hands on some more Mayfix actually. Like that's the only one I've bought so far. And then I saw that what was it? I think they revealed another RoboCop figure actually, and then they revealed another Terminator figure, and I was like, okay, this is going to be another rabbit hole that I'm about to go down, but I'm ready for it. I am ready for it.
Yeah, I think you're. They are doing another RoboCop, the damaged. I think it's like a battle damage version.
Yeah.
With him without the mask on, which is cool. You know, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Mayfix stuff too. I actually had that RoboCop at one point. I don't even know why I ended up selling it. It was probably just like I need to get rid of something for something else. And then I've always regretted it because that first version I can't seem to find anywhere.
It's really
so I kind of hope at some point they do a reissue. But it's cool that was your first one because I was really impressed by the RoboCop. Are you a big fan of the old movie?
Yeah, I prefer the old movie. They kind of get a bit iffy as they progress, but they're still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
As for the remake / I guess reboot, it was all right. Didn't care for it that much. I'm more of like a classic '80s kind of guy.
Which is funny.
Yeah,
because I saw your last review,
and
I was like, when you were like, I was born in 2000. I'm like, oh my goodness, but it's awesome like that. You like that '80s stuff. That's the stuff we grew up with.
Yeah, that is cool. And like RoboCop's one of my favorite movies. It's one of the because I'm a little bit older than you. I was actually born in the '80s. So I was around the time when that was coming out, and I remember just really gravitating to the movie. But I agree with you about the reboot. It didn't feel like the same movie.
Yeah.
One thing about like the old one, and you had those commercials and kind of just like that whole vibe going on of like this corrupt corporate structure and kind of like the dark comedy of that. So it's cool that you like that stuff and you like the 80s as well, because that's kind of like where I live is in the 80s. But I want to go back to what you said about you had a YouTube before. Was it a YouTube where you were doing Lego stuff, or was it?
It was both YouTube and Instagram as well.
Oh, cool. And what was that called again?
Vision Bricks. So I started it. Yeah, I started it around. It's either 2016 or 2017 or so. Like I said, did that for about 4 to 5 years, and then decided to make the switch over to this content because I was like, I still enjoy the Lego hobby. I still enjoy the people that I've met through that hobby. I'm still friends with a lot of them. But like I said, I found like a new sort of passion through the action figures, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. Like I could see myself doing this more and like having a lot more fun with it. And that's when I kind of made that switch over to it. I still do have certain ties that I do, because on the side, when I'm not editing my own videos, I edit for other people and do their videos and stuff like that. So I do work with one channel called Beyond the Brick. I do stuff with them, and then just other people that I kind of edit for independently. So
that's cool. Yeah, and I know that the Lego community is huge. And
it is.
I think you said something about you were making kind of your own pieces, right? Like you're sort of making your own ideas.
Yeah, so what it's called in the community is mocks, so my own creation. So basically, you just take the pieces in your collection and you build your own build. So it could be like a massive diorama or a vignette sort of build, or maybe it's like a robot or some sort of mech, like just making your own stuff rather than just building the set and calling it a day.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a pretty huge community of people that do that. And eventually, say if it's a good enough idea, or say you get the attention of Lego, you could eventually have that become like an official set, right? Like
so there's a project or a site that they have called Lego Ideas, where some people submit their fan ideas, and then potentially if they get enough backers and then Lego runs them through verification, they potentially can get that set made an actual set.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, I was at a museum a little while back, and there was like this big display of an airplane, and some kid that was like 10 years old had made this own idea of different pieces, and the Lego got involved, and I think they made it into a set or something. So
Wow.
yeah, I always respect that kind of creativity, because I don't have a brain that works like that to where I can, just create. I've told Prime this before. I don't draw, I do toy photography, but that's something a little bit different. I think it's a different kind of creativity, but to create just something out of nothing is really hard for me to do. So I always respect that. That's why I want to dig into that a little bit more, just that creative aspect of you. And I think you can see that a lot in what you do, because you bring kind of unique ideas in how you run your channel. And just, I know you made some editing changes, which I really like.
Thank you.
Your last 2 videos, I love the way that those flow, and you've got some old clips in there of, from Alf, or the retro Iron Man, where you're throwing in cartoon clips, and you're just calling out little details, that stuff that I maybe wouldn't even catch. But I just love that unique style. I think that's one thing about content creators that I really gravitate to, is that yes, there are a lot of content creators out there, but you're really going for that unique style and that personality.
Exactly.
That's what brings you in, because I mean, not anybody, but you could make a review and make it not fun, or just something very dry. To add that own personality, I think you're really good about doing that and just making it your own thing. So I commend you for that. It's cool. I think you can sort of see that progression from what you used to do in Legos, and now applying it to your own YouTube channel. It makes sense. Okay, now I see how this guy's brain's working. He's a creator,
Exactly.
Is that something you've always kind of it's been a part of your life? Like when you were younger, did you?
Just like, so growing up, I used to do a lot of like between like crafts and stuff. I know growing up between my grandmother, she loves to sew. So that was one thing I would find myself doing from time to time with her. Just kind of like, I used to do like little, like strange things where it'd be like taking like string and then trying to take like maybe like a random item and just make a grappling hook out of it, or some weird thing like that. Like just having fun with it and just letting my creativity just flow. So I've always seen myself as that type of person. I love reading. I love learning about stuff. So that's another thing. And then of course, like with movies and stuff, I love like watching like a lot of movies and TV shows. So I think that's where a lot of that knowledge also comes from, and that enjoyment for it, that I can be able to also integrate that into the videos, especially when it's based on like a figure is, say, like Alf or Retro Iron Man or something, and it's based on that. That's where I can deliver that knowledge and kind of share some facts with those that may not be familiar with it. So that's why I figured, that's a cool way to do it in the videos.
And it's also like, it's a lot of us that have been collecting for such a long time, we forget almost every day there's going to be a new collector. And like, you come in to the game of collecting, and just even the Marvel Legend community, like I started noticing like your collection was first mostly Marvel Legends, and then like some Diamond Select stuff, and now it's like how do you see your collection kind of now? Because there's a couple of themes that we've talked throughout the episode or throughout the show of like just remaining focused and like trying different lines, but it's also hard to not let the collection get out of control. But what has been your experience with your collection and the YouTube channel?
So for me, I've seen myself, like, typically I try my best not to just go and buy every single figure. Also, it can be quite expensive as well. But for me, I try to get the ones that interest me the most, that stand out to me the most, whether it be, like articulation, how it works, focusing on it from that standpoint, or maybe it's a character that I'm familiar with that I love and I would like to have that as a figure in my collection. And so that's kind of how I choose to collect. So it does kind of, like I said, branch off from between a lot of Marvel Legends at the start, and then branching on into NECA when I found out that they had like Back to the Future stuff. And then again with Mafex, and you telling me about like the RoboCop figure, and I was like, okay, got to get that. So now it's Mafex. I was thinking the other day that I might try and start dabbling in SH Figure Arts if possible soon. I want to try and see how some of their figures work. I don't know anything about like Naruto or anything, but I've seen that figure, and I see that a lot of people seem to enjoy it. And I'm like, I want to try my hand at the articulation on that, posing it and seeing my perspective on it, and just do a video on it. So, and
like, again, like I commend you on just being upfront about everything. I think a lot of times the association that most people have about collectors is like they know it all. Like, oh, I know every single property, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like on your streams, you're like, oh, I don't know nothing about Mafex. Like, is it a good line? Is it a bad line? Like, literally asking the community. And I remember in that chat we're like all. I'm like, yes, get RoboCop. Like,
Yeah.
you can't.
That
go
was a
wrong
lot
with
of fun in that stream. I'm
Yeah.
like looking forward to hopefully doing more streams throughout this
Mhm.
year. I think that'd be fun to just kind of do it more consistently and engage
Yeah.
with the community, because that's like one of the other like main things for me, like besides like editing the videos, which I enjoy,
Right.
but like being able to reach out to the community, see what their thoughts are on it, engage with
Yeah,
them.
no,
That's a
I
lot
thought
of
that
fun.
was really cool. Just again, being super transparent with your audience, and
Yeah.
like that gets them even more engaged. You know, it creates the engagement. Watching you do the unboxings that Diamond Select sent over, that was freaking awesome too. Like
hmm
some of those figures, you know, it was your first time opening them. But for me, I'm like, oh yeah, like just again, appreciating the fact that a brand new collector is opening it, and I was, I don't know, it kind of took me back. Probably
hmm
because I'm like Nate said, we're hella old, so.
I remember
Oh,
my first.
I
way
remember my
back
first
then.
big.
Yeah.
I had to walk through the snow for
That's-
5 miles. Now you just get it sent to your home. I had to stand in front of
Yeah.
Toys R Us and battle other collectors.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
yeah, those were
the
good old
days
days.
of Toys R Us, you know,
Mhm.
that's gonna, if you start mentioning Toys R Us, people are like, damn, you're hella old.
Yeah,
You know, they used to walk around at Toys R Us.
you know, like with Kevin, I tell him my daughter doesn't know what a Toys R Us is. She's like, "What? There's a store where all these toys used
Oh,
to be." Like,
jeez.
she has no concept of Toys R Us. She knows Walmart, Target, and Amazon. That's it.
You see, that makes me kind of sad, because it's
Uh
like
huh.
growing up for
Yeah.
me, I was at the time when Toys R Us was still a thing. And then
Uh-huh.
I got to see when it was like not a thing, and they're like
Yeah.
still in the process of trying to bring it back or whatever. Where
Yeah.
it's not the best experience, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. For
something. But it's like I wish that all these other people that are growing up now and are like coming into the world would be able to know about this, and that they still have these things to experience, because they were
Yeah.
pretty cool. So it's
It
like
was the best.
hopefully we can get something like that back, like at some point, and it would be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both my
it
sons
is.
experienced it, but my daughter, she's like, I have no idea. She's like, a
Uh,
giraffe? Who? What? Who's Jeffrey? I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
You're killing me. Don't say
Uh-huh.
that. But it is sad to see the kind of the slow degrade, you know, like the decline of retail stores,
Yeah.
especially for kids coming into the world now. It's like that was like an experience when you were a kid, being able to walk
Exactly.
the aisles and just see what's out there and pick something out. And yeah, you can get stuff online, but you can't
It's
really
not the
like
same
see it in
experience.
person.
Exactly.
No. Yeah.
What
And
does
that
Stanley always
sold,
say? He'd rather prefer him real in his hands?
Mhm.
Like the
yeah.
comments.
It's just like it's like, okay, I go online, I search for the figure I want. If they have it, they have it. If they don't, they don't. Or if
Right.
it's somewhere else and I just got to get it, like
Eventually you'll get it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like going into a store and just having that experience of like searching for the toy that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like I remember it wasn't more like a search, but I remember before I started the channel, I was like trying to think. Depends on whatever that movie came out. It was I think Percy Jackson like 2 or something like that.
Mhm.
I remember
Yep.
going with my uncle to, it may have been a Walmart, and going down the action figure aisle, and that's when I saw, I think it was like the Marvel Universe like greatest comic packs or something like that. And it was Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer, and it came with a Defenders comic. I remember picking that up and being like, okay, that's cool. I want to have that in my collection and just be able to mess around with it. And I used to like take the cape off and stuff, like try and pose them around and have the cape like midair and just having fun with it, like having that experience of going to the toy store, finding a toy that interests you, and then enjoying it for like as long as you can. Like I just find that to be awesome.
Yeah. And that was in a way that would enable me a lot of the times.
Mhm.
Like if I would see something on the shelves that maybe I didn't know a lot about, like, oh, well,
Exactly.
let's see if I can get my mom to get me this. And then there you go. I got like a new line that I'm in.
Yep.
And when you do online sales like that, I think there's more of a risk. Like I don't want to, yeah, this interests me, but I don't know if I want to get it because then I have to deal with returning it, and it's just not as seamless as a process. So it's just kind of sad for me to see that slowly going away. Yeah, you've got Target and Walmart, but
Yeah.
they're not really focused on the toys. And I try to support the smaller shops around me, but even those, I don't see those lasting for long term.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people going out there. So I appreciate that you're kind of in that kind of in that middle area where you started to see you still had that experience, which is probably what gave you a lot of the appreciation for the figures now, and you're kind of bringing that into the modern age. But I feel bad for kids nowadays. I feel like are the toys in Target and Walmart really for kids, or are they for the adults that are now appreciating figures more and have the money to buy them?
Yeah, they're
You know,
definitely for us.
I
Look
feel
how
like
look how
kids.
high on the pegs they're put. They're put at our height. Like no,
Exactly.
like no 7 or
That's
8-year-olds
true.
gonna reach those pegs. Like
Yeah,
I'm
I
there,
know.
That's
just like you do the finger shuffle on the peg, and you're like,
Exactly.
all right, these are all peg warmers. Move on.
that's a good point, though. You know, you do see some at the bottom level, but it's not like
Mhm.
Legends and
No,
G.I. Joe
those-
Classified and
yeah.
McFarlane. Those are all higher up. I'd never
Mhm.
even thought about it like that, but that's a great
Yeah.
point. But yeah, it's kind of funny to see the change in the pace. But like when you were younger, were toys still a big part of
Yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
your life?
So like it was like several things. Like there was a little bit of like between like building sort of like educational type toys.
Mhm.
A lot of action figures. I do remember some of them that I used to have. I don't remember if it was Toy Biz, and you guys could let me know on this line. It was like a Beast figure that had like I think it was like finger sort of articulation, not like all four fingers, something like that, but I think it was like more like
Just
in a
like
section.
this.
Yeah, like that, like
Yep.
exactly like that.
Yeah.
I
Toy
had
Biz.
some sort of beast figure like that. I remember that. At one point there was a collaboration between I think it was Star Wars and Transformers. It was like a Millennium Falcon
Oh yeah.
that
Mhm.
separated, so it was like
Yep.
Chewbacca and Han Solo. I had that.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't have any of the Tobey Maguire stuff growing up, unfortunately, despite that being around my time and that being a movie that I love to watch a lot. So it
Mhm.
was like some stuff that I vaguely remember, like the usual mask or like
Yeah.
role play type items. Those were a lot of fun. So like I did grow up with toys and I enjoyed doing it. So eventually that did stop for like a brief moment, and then it went into like Lego. That's how I ended up coming across Lego and then doing that for some time until I eventually came back to action figures and collecting that.
Nice. Yeah, I was huge into Lego too when I was younger. I remember building sets. I had like I think it was the not space station, but it was like the shuttle launch
Yeah.
area. It was like a big shuttle, and you had like the launch pad and everything. And I remember I got into Technics after that because those are a bit more complicated. Or is
hmm
that what it was called? Technics, I think.
Yeah,
I'm dating
Lego
myself here,
Technic.
not being able to.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
No, you
was.
got it right. It's Lego
Yeah, you
Technic.
got it right. That's.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that as a kid. It's something I kind of go back and forth on when I see a new Lego set. Like, it would be really fun to just sit down
Yeah.
and build this,
Yeah.
hmm
but then it's not really part of what I collect anymore. So I have to
Exactly.
stay like I got to keep the blinders on. I can't get this. I can't get this.
hmm
I
That's
just
how it
can't keep
was for
adding to it.
me, like with making the switch, because it's like I do like this hobby, and I also am like starting to like this new hobby with action figures, but at the same time,
Mhm.
it's like these are both equally expensive hobbies. I gotta
Yep.
like just kind of draw the line for now, and like
Yeah.
make a choice between like which one I'm gonna focus on collecting the most, and it ended up being action figures. And like I said, I haven't regretted it. It's been a lot of fun.
hmm
At times there was like I think at the start of the channel when I was picking up figures, it was like okay, I'm enjoying a lot of the collecting, but at the same time, none of these toys are getting open, and that's not supposed to be happening. I would like to
Yeah.
take them out the box.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me
Yeah.
try and slow down a bit, actually
Mhm.
unbox them, and start making videos on it. And at first, like they were kind of like longer videos, kind of like a
Mhm.
mixture. And then I focused more. At one point, I was like, okay, I want to test out sort of doing more hands-on type videos where it's just me taking the camera, recording, trying to narrow down what I can, but still making a more polished video. And those were fun. And then at the start of this year, more recently, is when I kind of came across the decision to like, let me see how I can not only make a same like sort of video or piece of content that is polished, still gets across the point, but at the same time will be quick enough to keep people interested. Because when it comes to YouTube, not everyone tends to watch longer videos. Sometimes it can be a bit
hmm
longer for them, and,
Mhm.
and not everyone is me. Because like I like longer videos and I like shorter videos. It just depends on what the topic is. So I was like, let me just find a way to make it watchable enough for someone to be able to still have their interest and be able to learn about the figure and what my thoughts are on
Right.
it, while still keeping it, quick and to the
Yeah.
point.
hmm Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point that I think when I started getting into action figures a bit heavier when I got older, I felt like I didn't really have a clear direction,
hmm
and I would just like, oh, this looks cool, or let me get this figure, and you're grabbing and you're grabbing, you're grabbing things, and then
hmm
you get home and you're like, well, I'll open up these two, and then a week later you got 3 others that you haven't even opened yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you don't really know what you want, so you're just like, I'm really in discovery mode right now. I'm trying to figure out what I do want. But I totally relate with that, and I think it's probably even more difficult to stay focused because you run a YouTube channel where you are doing reviews.
Yeah.
So part of that's probably fueling your collecting. Like, well, I want to get this so I can review it. But then trying to keep that at bay to a certain point, like I can't get everything, and I can't review everything. So let me maybe get something, review it, get something else, review it. Is that kind of how you've progressed? Like, let me just pick it up, do a review.
For now, like it's been, I think, let's see. So far going into 2023, I picked up, I think maybe like a handful, maybe. So that would be like Alf recently. What else was it? I think it was maybe, that was like into 2022, but kind of into 2023. So like some Gremlin stuff that I found from NECA. There was a figure from The Thing. So the McCready figure from that movie from NECA. But right now, for me, although I might pick up some here and there, I'm trying to backtrack and handle the other pile that's just like sitting there that I'm like, okay, well, a lot of those didn't get touched in 2022 because of the fact that I'm working on these videos and I'm trying to like really just let myself loose in the video and just talk about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it takes a while for me to get those videos done. Like I think like one video would take me maybe like a day or two maybe to be able to get that done, between that, editing, and maybe even crossover until maybe like a 3-day process.
Yeah,
but for now, like for my experience now with like the newer video, I did the Iron Man review, I guess maybe now it's like 5 days ago I did that. But that was like a 1-2 day process that took.
Yeah.
And then I came back, I'm like, okay, well I have the Alf figure now. Instead of me, just kind of waiting, giving some time, let me just go ahead and just experience it for the first time, make the video on it. And then I did knock that out in maybe like a day or two. And it's like, I'm seeing that now I can be able to, I feel more comfortable, especially now with talking about the figures and my experience throughout the longer process of it, and just being able to narrow it down and just share my thoughts on it much easier, more in a much simpler way, while still producing the content that I'm happy with.
Right. You can definitely see that confidence sort of building in your videos that you do, because you even say it in your first Punisher video. You're like, hey, I'm nervous and I don't really feel comfortable doing this, but I'm just going to start it. So here we go.
Exactly.
I'm Kirk, created the Geek Effect, and I'm going to do a toy review. So I appreciate your honesty, because I think that really helps bridge that connection with people. Like, okay, this guy's being upfront. He's just being himself. He's not just trying to sell me a figure. He's just giving me his thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. I think like for me with the reviews, I feel like sometimes I'm like overly positive. I'm like, I don't want people to think that, because like a lot of the reviews is always like, okay, well, I really enjoyed this one. I definitely recommend it. But it's more so from the point of like me genuinely enjoying the figure. 9 times out of 10, when I pick up a figure, like I said earlier, it's based on something that I really have an interest in and a figure that I really want. Because I think if I was to just buy any other figure, there would be a lot of like, okay, well, this one, I don't really like this one, but I picked it up just so I can get a video out on it. It's like, I want to be able to have a connection and motivation to want to unbox that figure, to want to talk about the figure, rather than just picking it up just because.
Yeah, I think we've talked to other people that kind of say the same thing. I'm worried maybe I'm being too positive, but you're collecting what you like.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you be positive?
Exactly.
And I think you still kind of call out little things like, hey, this thing kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
Does it kill my joy for the figure? No. But if you're going to buy it, maybe you should just be aware of this problem, that type of thing. Yeah. But it doesn't make sense to me when I see sometimes in other reviews like, oh man, you're being too positive. Like, what do you expect here? I mean,
exactly.
This guy bought the figure to review it.
Exactly.
You think he's just going to shit on it the whole time? Like, hey, I wasted my money just so I could make this video. There you guys go. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I get that. I think buying what you are interested in really helps the videos come across as more genuine. Because I've seen other reviews where somebody clearly got this for free, and that's totally fine. I'm not knocking anybody. Yeah. But there's a lot of positivity there, and there's things that I'm seeing. I'm like, okay, that bothers me. I wonder if he's going to call that out. doesn't call it out. So it's just like, I get it. It is a double-edged sword. I understand completely.
Exactly.
But it makes sense to have passion for what you're collecting. So I don't worry about that, man, because the genuine nature of your attitude is what's coming across in the review.
Okay.
And that's what's going to grab people to you. Like, okay, I'm getting this guy's real thoughts and not some kind of fake thing just so he can get the video some more likes or something like that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you did a lot of Legends, although you did do that NECA Back to the Future Marty, and I loved how you dressed up as Marty as in that video.
I will be 100% honest. I was like looking through my closet and I was like, I know I've got to have something that looks similar to it. And then I put it on, but the issue with that outfit was that prior that day before I started filming the video, I think this was the second review that I did on the channel. I was on a live stream, and it was a part of a thing that we were doing during the pandemic where it was like we would gather, I think, each Tuesday, and we would stream for about 3 hours, just talking about Lego, talking with the fans in the live chat and stuff. And I had that exact same outfit on because I planned to do the video later in that day. The room wasn't getting the best air conditioning, so it was already hot as it was. By the time I got to the video, turned on lights and everything, I was like sweating, and I was like, I really want to get the video done. At the same time, I can't wait to take this outfit off because it's like not comfortable whatsoever. But I was like, it was worth it. I was like, it adds more fun to it, just kind of dressing up like that.
It did, yeah. But I understand you got 3 layers on. You got like
it was like a lot.
The button up,
Exactly.
the t-shirts, But it made me feel like, okay, this guy's got some love for Back to the Future. So is that another one of your favorites?
That's another one for me. I think I enjoy the first a lot, but I think out of the trilogy, my favorite one would be the part 2. I like a lot of the futuristic aspects of it. So part 2 is my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, Back to the Future is like one of my all-time favorite series. But I agree. Out of the 2, I think I like 2 a little bit more, just because the futuristic aspect and the DeLorean flies. You're like, holy shit, this is awesome. You know, I already thought the DeLorean was really cool. But why do you have such love for those 80s movies? Like, what is it about it that draws you in?
It's something about, like, I guess, like the uniqueness of it. Like, for me, when I watch a lot of modern movies now, while some of them are pretty good, I mean, we have things like The Batman, we have things like, what was it? Knives Out was like another one, like off the top of my head, like that was really fun. Even the sequel, I enjoyed that one recently. But for me, it's something about like the magic and like charm behind the 80s movies and how a lot of things were done practically. Like not everything had to be done with CGI. Like just them putting in that, again, creativity and just showing that effort to really make something look as realistic as possible with what they had is kind of what inspires me. And I think that's what really draws me to that a lot. And then also, of course, like I said in the Alf review, just growing up with that, like a lot of different like older shows and stuff that my mom would put on and have me sit down and watch with her. Those are things that I grew to love, and that's why I like sitting down and watching those things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. While I do enjoy some newer stuff, and you brought up some good examples, I felt like the ideas that were coming out of the 80s were incredibly original, and just you didn't see anything else like that. And nowadays, while you do have that sometimes going on, a lot of what they're creating is just trying to, let me just use the name of this old property to sell tickets, but then not really give it the justice that it deserves. And you're kind of killing people's ideas of what that was.
Exactly.
So
no, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, like, it feels like a lot of times that they're just like, okay, let's take, for example, and I really hope this never happens, but Back to the Future, for example. Let's go reboot Back to the Future. It's like, but we don't want to reboot. We just want to enjoy what the original was and just try and make something else that's unique and actually like a new idea, not just keep taking the same thing over and over again and rebooting it every however many years. And just doing it from that. Like it just doesn't feel original to me at times. Sometimes it does work out and it turns out to be maybe better than the first. And then there's other times where it's just like, this is not good. I wish I didn't go to the theater to go see this. I wish I didn't waste my money on this. Rather just go watch the original. But
yeah, can I get a refund, please?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, man. As much as I love Back to the Future, I don't want them to touch it. And I don't know if you saw, but there was like a fan-made trailer of a 4. It's not really going to happen. I mean, hopefully, maybe it will, but with Michael J. Fox in the state that he's in, I don't know if that's going to be possible. Unfortunately,
I know he has like a movie coming out, actually, like a sort of like documentary about his story. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah,
That's
I saw
awesome.
he announced that. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But like, I think it was again Back to the Future 4. Someone had texted me and they were like, "Is this really happening? Are they actually making Back to the Future like 4?" I was like, "Nope, that's not true. And if it was, I really hope that they don't do that. I really hope they don't do it."
Yeah, because I just don't see who it could be a different Doc Brown and Marty McFly. It better be a different character. It'd be cool if they like did maybe a new launching off point.
Right, like a continuation. Someone picked up or found the DeLorean.
Yeah, maybe like Marty's kid that he saves from the future ends up actually being a good person, and I don't know, he
kind of
discovers
like
a DeLorean or
like I guess mostly through 2022. There were like 2022, I guess 2021 too. Like a lot of legacy sort of movies where we had like Ghostbusters Afterlife, like that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot.
That was really good.
Like any movie, Top Gun Maverick, that was another one that was like, okay, really good. It's a sequel to an old classic, but actually does it really well and continues the story where it actually makes sense. Doesn't just feel like a cash grab to use a name and then not have the same story or passion kind of behind it.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like we could talk a lot. I'm a big movie and show buff as well. I love love movies. I love shows. So you're right down my alley. Weird fact about Back to the Future, but did you know that movie was almost filmed entirely with a different actor before they switched to Michael J. Fox?
I wasn't aware of that.
Who was it?
Yeah, Eric Stoltz, which the name might not be familiar, but if you look him up, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's been in movies before. They filmed like half the movie with him, and then the director was like, I don't know, I'm just not getting the right vibe from this kid. And I guess Michael J. Fox wasn't available at the time, but then they're like, okay, we got to get Michael J. Fox. So then they started all over again and started filming over with Michael J. Fox. It's a weird thing that I discovered, I think, through the movies that made us. So if you want to know more about it, just check that out.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I know a lot of the other version that they had, the Toys That Made Us. So I haven't gotten around. But I haven't gotten around to the one about the movies yet.
Yeah, there's one. I think there's a RoboCop.
Well, Eric Stoltz kind of looks like Michael J. Fox.
They look very similar.
It's like that's so funny.
They showed like some clips of Eric Stoltz, and I agree. He just doesn't really have the same energy as Michael J. Fox. He's like a little bit more kind of just, I don't know. It's hard to explain because I'm not a director.
Hey, we almost ended up with Nicolas Cage Superman. So.
Oh yeah, that is. I remember that. I've seen
almost ended up with Nicolas Cage Superman. Clark Kent, Nick Cage. He did Ghost Rider. He could have been a Clark Kent.
I mean, if Ben Affleck can be Daredevil and Batman, I mean, might as well do Nicolas.
Yep. So, what were some of the big milestones for you, Kirk, from 2022, from last year?
So, from last year, let's see. Definitely being able to. I think the biggest milestone out of everything was probably doing the Figure Rewind. Like that was like like I said, a passion project that I had. I was like, all these amazing people in the community that I've met, all these amazing people that are like just really talented, do a great job with the work that they put out there. I was like, there's got to be a way to be able to give some recognition to them and appreciation to them, while also just like celebrating the hobby of collecting. And so I was like, well, let's sit down, talk about the figures that we picked up this year, just share our like why we like them. Just focusing more on like the 2022 releases. And I was like really happy when I started like seeing like the submissions and stuff coming in from everyone. Like, okay, well, here's my submission. Looking forward to seeing the final product. And it turned out to be like a blast.
That was really cool. Yeah, that was a really cool vid. Seeing all the different collectors out there, I was like, man, it was cool. And then Wade comes on, he starts yelling. I had to turn the volume down, but and then seeing playing with myself on there too, I was like, this guy, he's everywhere. And he's Donald Duck in it. But yeah, it was freaking awesome just seeing a bunch of familiar faces and some that weren't too familiar. That was awesome too.
Yeah, I was like, I definitely want to like try and highlight a lot of people that I may have come across that maybe not other people aren't familiar with. And I was like, if I can get them in this video, it'll help more people in the community to become more familiar with one another. And I thought that was a cool aspect.
Yeah, I loved it.
And that must have been like a big effort from an editing perspective. You know,
It
that's a long video.
It was, yeah, it was long. I definitely this year, because like I was saying to some folks, like I want this to be an annual thing that I do like each year within the community, hopefully get new people on board. But I'm like at the same time, for this first one, I was like really ambitious about the amount of people that I was trying to get on board, and I was like, this is the allotted time. And then I look back at it, and I'm like, geez, this is a very long video. So I got to figure out some way next year to make it shorter and potentially get either the same amount of people or more than that, hopefully, is the goal.
But what if you like? I would have even loved if you had like it's like almost like a Royal Rumble, you know, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Like I was almost
That
like,
could be
oh, who's
cool.
next? That would like I was watching it, and I'm like, who's gonna come on next? I'm like, oh, like again, like it gave me the Royal Rumble type of feeling, like watching WrestleMania or something. Yeah, it was really dope.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, this must have been a lot of effort. You said editing is one of those things that you do for other people, including yourself. So how did you kind of get into doing that? It's just from having your previous YouTube channel, or?
Yeah, it kind of started off with that. So like a lot of people with the editing style of what I was doing before, they enjoyed it. That's actually how I got connected with the channel that I work with now, Beyond the Brick. I remember them putting out a video, and it was like, we're looking for people to be contributors to our content, to help us with like making videos and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Well, I'm looking to give that a shot. I think I have what it takes to do it. Eventually got an email back from them, and they were like, hey, we want you to edit this first video for us. And ever since then, I've been working with them between either doing reviews here and there or editing a video for it, or maybe just like talking about a set release or like announcement, just kind of sharing my thoughts on it. And that's been a lot of fun. So that's from that perspective of that. And then as I've grown, like between doing stuff with them, gradually there would be other people that I would meet that would be like, okay, well, I have a video that I want to work on. I've seen your stuff that you do. You're really good at it. I would like for you to be able to edit this video for me. I actually have like 3 different projects that I have to work on now at the moment. So I started on one of them today. And then this weekend I plan to start on the next one as well.
Well, if you get too good, Kurt, that might be your full-time job is editing videos for others,
that's the thing. I'm like that seems like a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I'm like, I like doing it a lot. So I feel like outside of the figures, that definitely would be something that would be fitting for me to do, and just do it as like my own sort of like thing that I can do from home, be able to still work on the channel and stuff at the same time.
Because editing takes skill. You know, you got to take the time and the effort to really do it right. And, you know, kind of going into that, you've made some enhancements to your own videos. The last 2, Alf and Retro Iron Man. Was that just you saying like, hey, I want to switch it up, or what created that need to want to do that?
It was really like, I remember having a conversation a bit with my friend. He was like, he's like, the videos that you do are good, like in terms of sharing your thoughts on the figures and just like taking time out to edit and everything like that. But he's like, the only thing is that if you want to be able to carry across like the message more of like what it is that you want to talk about, you got to figure out a way somehow to be able to lower that time on it, just so that more people stay focused on it. Because eventually some people might be like, okay, well, let me just skip through it so I can kind of get to the part that I'm looking to find out the most. But if you deliver more information at a faster pace, you'll be able to still get your point across of how much you like the figure and how much you want to talk about it, but just still keeping their attention. And so that's kind of what pushed me and motivated me to be able to give that a shot. And like I said, so far it's been good. I found myself being able to still deliver the message of what I like about the figure, but doing it in a much faster pace for the person to really get the point across.
Yeah, and at first I didn't really realize that they were shorter videos, but to your point now, I look back, I'm like, yeah, they're both about 7 minutes long, but I felt like I got so much information within that 7 minutes.
Exactly.
So it's very clear, concise. You don't waste a lot of time talking about things. You know, you kind of just like, all right, let's move on to articulation and other things. Like that Alf, I've been interested in that Alf, but after watching your video, I'm like, I'm gonna have to pick this thing up. It's just too cool. Like,
it's a lot of fun.
And the slime balls. I didn't realize it came with all that. The radio. It would be too funny to use in different shots.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think you might have sold me on that, Kurt.
Oh man.
On top of all this, though, you do toy photography as well, right?
Yes.
And that's something that you've been doing kind of more and more. But it seems like when you started, were you using dioramas? like digital backgrounds?
Yeah, that's how it started. So
Okay.
before it was just kind of taking. I used to have like, I don't remember the size of it. It was like a smaller size monitor that I would basically just like kind of place the
Wow.
figure in front of it, and then
Mhm.
take the photo. That's the. Let me think. I think that's the first shot that's seen for the Punisher review that was used with the digital background. I think the same thing goes
Mhm.
for the Back to the Future one, and I think I think the Shang-Chi reviews as well. So just like some at the start of it, that's what the scenario was. And then eventually, what happened was I went and I commissioned a friend of mine, Tyler, Hero HQ Props, to do a diorama for me. That's when I made that video on that. Diorama turned out fantastic. And I've been using that more often, a lot with the toy photography, like with the Wolverine shots that I did, and then some other stuff here and there.
That's cool. Yeah, Digirama always kind of intimidated me
Mhm.
because it wasn't something I was really comfortable with. So I thought it was really cool that you started with that because I'm like,
Yeah,
dang,
Mhm.
I didn't even start messing with Digiramas until much later on, just
yeah.
because I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, you do a great job with your toy photography. I really enjoy a lot of your shots. You definitely have a
Mhm.
knack for it, and I've seen you using that new Dio a lot
Mhm.
too. So, what are some of the challenges transitioning from Digirama to Dio? Like, have
I
you had to?
think I think for me sometimes it tends to be because obviously like with dials it takes a lot of time for those to get done in terms of the person that's
Yep.
making them and then also like
Yep.
the price that goes into it. So you can't just like
Right.
at the start, even though I would love to be able to have like different dials set up to dedicate them to different shots. I've
Mhm.
tried like just working with the one that I have right now and getting the best shots I can possible with at least the figures that fit the most with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have a figure, like if I have a figure that I don't really think fits with the dial, then I'll just use a different sort of inspiration for it. But it's been like from that perspective, using the diorama, I think I've been able to get more detailed shots. Like you can see the texture of it rather than it just being like the flat sort of image from the digital screen. It really
Right.
adds more depth
Mhm.
to what's being shot, and so that's why I've enjoyed using the diorama a lot more than the digital backgrounds.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you definitely can see, you know, the talent of your toy photography. Even that
Mhm.
you saw Yojimbo shot you did the thumbnail. I
Mhm.
like how you kind of put them in that outside environment. You got the grass, the little dinosaur out there.
Thanks.
Um, is that something you're trying to focus on more in conjunction with doing the videos, or like?
Yeah, I would like to be able to try my hand more at like doing more toy photography, especially throughout this year,
Mhm.
just like practicing more with it, coming up with different like ways that if I don't have a dio or if I don't have a digital screen with me, I can still make a nice shot that kind of fits and matches things. Like kind of how I did recently with I think it was the Gizmo figure from NECA. Just like that was simply
Mhm.
just taken on like a tabletop with just some items like
Yep.
the sleeves that comes inside the box. I took that, took the
Mhm.
Gizmo figure, took some water, poured it. I'm like, water, gremlins. Those are two things that go
Yep.
hand in hand. The
Yep.
candy. I had like a Milky Way bar that I was eating. And I was like, wait a minute, what if I use this in a shot? So I took that, and then that turned out to be the shots that I took and posted those. And
That's
I was like,
awesome.
these look really nice. I like how these turned out.
Yeah, they turned out great. And I like the variety. You did a lot of different
Yeah.
ideas,
Mhm.
and you had that one where it had like the water dripping on his
Hmm.
back. Definitely calling back to the movie and stuff. But yeah, man,
Thanks.
I appreciate the hustle. You can definitely see the passion that you put into your work coming through in those toy photos.
Thank
So I
you.
think that's cool that you're kind of, hey, let me do a toy review, but also find other ways to appreciate this figure by doing some toy photography, and then using that as thumbnails when I can. It makes a lot of
Yep.
sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, like, as far as your future plans, are you going to keep pumping out videos? Do you have anything else in the works that you're thinking about,
So
incorporating in the channel?
so for now, a lot of it, especially at the start of this year, because like I said, my goal is to try and narrow down the backlog that I have from 2022 and just trying to like, get those figures, like make videos on those. The goal with a lot of it, depending on what they like, which ones they are. So like Retro Fantastic Four, I only did one video on that last year, which was the retro card thing.
Mhm.
But then I have Reed Richards and Sue and Johnny. I still have those figures, and I'm like, I could easily do individual videos on those, but maybe I might just do all three of them in one video and just focus on them like in individual sections, just kind of talking about them from the same perspective of the figure, the detail, the articulation, just kind of narrowing things down and having multiple figures in one video. And just coming up with different ways to kind of like I said, spread as much information as possible about the figure that I have a passion for, or the multiple figures, if that be the case, and just spreading it out there within the YouTube community, the Instagram community. That's kind of why I started doing a lot of these shorts or reels where it's like figure minute, just kind of like going over the figure quickly, where maybe someone who's scrolling through shorts might be scrolling and they come across that. Hey, what's that? Let me check this out real quick. And then if they want to know more, then you check out the actual, like the full video on it. And then you potentially learn more, and maybe you'll check out the rest of the content and learn some more stuff. So
that's cool, man. Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah,
I'm very eager to see kind of where you go from here. And like I said, I really like the new edits, so I'm waiting for that next video now. I know it's just a day ago that you posted the elf. You're like, hold on, man, I just posted that a day ago.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, but no, I mean, I did tease in the end of the elf video. I was like, okay, this is the next figure that I have. That's like that's going to be a multi-figure video. I noticed like last year when I was doing like the 2-packs, it was those were lengthier videos too, like a bit long, maybe like 7 minutes additional added to like the normal just like single figure videos. And I'm like, okay, but this one, just 4 different things in this box, a lot of packaging I'm going to be going over. This is definitely where this new video style is going to really come in handy, because if that wasn't the case, this would be like a 30-40 minute video. I'm like, that's going to take a lot of time to edit. Doing this new style is definitely going to be beneficial to me throughout this year.
That's awesome.
That's cool. You're already kind of thinking about that next thing.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's great, man. Well, yeah, I mean, really enjoyed the combo. You're one of those guys I feel like we could nerd out or geek out a bit more.
Geek out.
Exactly.
In regards to movies and just toys and shows. So yeah, I'll definitely be paying attention to your channel, but we're not done with you yet, Kurt. We're going to do the Dirty Dozen, where we're going to give you 12 rapid fire rounds of different toy lines, and we kind of just want to get your thoughts on them. Maybe some you've collected, maybe some you haven't, but we just want to kind of what comes to your mind when you see some of these companies.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start that up. All right. The Dirty Dozen. Go ahead and start it out with Super 7.
They Live.
They Live?
So, yep, They Live. I remember seeing their reaction stuff. I believe that's under Super 7. Seeing those revealed, and those look pretty neat. And I think I might actually get them because I do like that movie as well.
They Live. It's, gosh, I haven't seen They Live.
Man, that's such
so long.
Yeah. That's with Roddy Piper, right?
For a rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Do you have any interest in the Ultimate stuff, or really just the reactions?
The reaction stuff, I like those because like have like the retro sort of cards look for those. Like I said, I haven't picked up anything yet. The Ultimate stuff, I haven't seen anything yet in particular that interests me, but I'm still looking. I'm thinking at some point there might be some figure in particular that's like, okay, I would like to give that a shot.
Yeah, that's one of those lines I feel like we haven't even seen close to the end of the properties that they're going to do, you know, because they keep adding so much stuff. You know, Prime, you know, he's real deep in the Thundercats. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more in the future from them. Marvel Legends.
All right. A lot of the retro card Spider-Man stuff. That is one of my favorite lines from them. I'm hoping that they'll continue more, even with the whole plastic-free packaging that's going on now, and then wanting to push that out. I'm hoping we'll still get some more stuff. I know they even have like the VHS
next
line. I would let.
What do you want to see from the Spidey retro?
The one figure I've wanted to see the most, and they haven't done it yet, is a Dr. Octopus. I really want a retro card Dr. Octopus that would just go with the other villains that they've made so far. I think that would be neat.
That would be cool.
But seeing how they haven't done it yet, I'm hoping that maybe with them doing the animated series VHS line, that this might be their alternative to be able to do that.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, a Doc Ock, especially from the animated series, it would really be really cool. He'd have that armor, you know.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm still holding my breath out for some Spider Slayers.
That'd be nice too.
Nice. Yeah, that would be cool. I feel like that's another one. Like they're just scratching the surface. There's so much that you give us.
Exactly. There's a
retro
lot.
line. Yeah. Are you? Or do you Wonder Rock one to stock because they look so good carded, or do you just?
I like to like so far I've only picked up at least one of each. I think there have been duplicates for not really sure why, but well, actually one of them being that I want to do a giveaway at some point with it. But like the Retro Card Fantastic Four, I do have a duplicate of like Reed Richards, and I was mainly just because I was like maybe it's on clearance. I can just display Reed with the coat and then also Reed without the coat, and kind of have that on my display. But typically I just collect one and then I try my best to keep the card intact if I want to have it on the wall, or just to keep the packaging because I like how it looks.
Smart man. You are. You seem like you're very strict with yourself in a good way.
Yeah,
Where you're like, I just get one, and move on to something else.
exactly.
Whereas
Way better than
others out there are like, yeah, I know. Just like I don't want to damage the packaging, so let me just get another one so I have it to display, and then 2 years later, I'm like, why the hell did I get the second one?
Yeah.
Now I got to worry about getting rid of it.
Yeah.
All right, NECA.
NECA, okay. A lot of their 80s stuff, which we were talking about earlier. So Back to the Future, Gremlins, The Thing. They've got a lot of stuff that caters a lot towards like the older stuff. Like one figure actually that I saw, I keep seeing it several times. Like I go to a different Target. Is the figure from Creepshow. So the George A. Romero movie with Stephen King. That figure looks great. So at some point I want to pick that up and do a video on that because I love those movies. I'm like really big on anthology stuff. So that was like a nice surprise to see them make that figure.
That's cool. And those 8-inch cloth figures are a little different from NECA. So if you haven't got one before, that would be a good kind of discovery for you. Like, oh,
exactly.
You know, this is similar, but also a little different. They're a little bit taller. They have the cloth goods, which I'm not always used to with NECA. So that's a good choice, though. That Creepshow is a great figure. Mythic Legions.
So I haven't started with this line yet. I have seen the like photos that people do of them. Yeah, and I say yet because I feel like maybe at some point it might be something I tried to dabble in a bit, just to kind of share my thoughts and experience with it. I have seen a lot of their figures. I know it was, I think, Art Man Customs. I was talking about one of them in the figure rewind. I was like, that actually looks like a neat figure. I think it was also Art G who talked about the, I think it was the Adhafe figure or something like that. That one looked neat too. I'm like, these are some really detailed looking figures. Maybe at some point I'll try my shot at them.
Yeah, it's a line I resisted for a while, and then eventually decided to check out. And I ended up selling other things just so I can get more of them. I'm like, all right, I got to find a way to get these into my collection. So now they're kind of dominating one shelf over here. So
but
it's be careful. If you try one, you're probably going to want another one. SH Figure Arts.
All right. So for this line, I've seen their Marvel stuff. I've seen a little bit of their DC stuff that they've done. The Marvel stuff is where I'm more interested at. Like I do remember at some point someone asked me, they were like, "Are you ever going to do an SH Figure Arts review? Like maybe on one of the Marvel figs?" I'm like, at some point I'll give it a shot. I'm still looking for that one figure that's for me. It might be something Spider-Man related, or like I said earlier with the Naruto figure, I'm like, I've seen a lot of good things about this one. It looks a lot of fun to mess around with and just pose and stuff. So that might be the first possibly, and I think that actually might happen soon if I can get my hands on it to be able to do a video on that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. You collect Mofex, but SH Figure Arts to me, they're somewhat similar, but they offer very unique differences. So I think it's cool that you're going to try them out because you might end up maybe liking them more than the Mofex stuff. Who knows? They're two different kind of like import lines that are very similar that way.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. All right. So I haven't started with this line yet. I know my friend Jeff is actually like really big on this stuff. But I haven't started with G.I. Joe yet. I know there's one figure that I saw that was like, that looks pretty fun, and that's the Storm Shadow figure. I don't remember which one it is. The one that has like the sleeves ripped off. So that one looks like a lot of fun. I'd like to get my hands on that one and take a look at it. If I could possibly get a Snake Eyes to go with him, that'd be nice too. I know they did stuff for the Snake Eyes movie. I didn't bother with those because those didn't look that fun. I was like, nah, I don't think I
Yeah.
care for these.
That was a good
But
move.
if
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, if it's focused on like the classic stuff and it takes inspiration from that, then those do kind of look cool. I do like how those look.
Yeah, I agree with Prime. That was probably a good move because that movie in
Mhm.
general just was not that fun.
Yeah. I remember seeing it in theaters. I had like a discounted ticket that I got, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'll go see it. I had a friend in town. I was like,
Yeah.
let's just go watch it. Let's see how it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
At least you didn't spend a lot on it.
exactly.
That summarizes the movie. This discounted ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. All right, Mattel.
Mattel. I'm trying to think. I haven't started with Mattel. What have I seen from Mattel? I know. Oh, that's actually it. There was a Mr. T figure that I saw for his for the wrestling line. That one
Mhm.
looks nice, and I do like Mr.
Yep.
T when it comes to like the A Team and stuff like that. So I was like,
Yep.
I am not big on wrestling, but this might be a figure that I want to have just to kind of show like my appreciation towards Mr. T and just like that character or that person.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping at some point when it comes to him, maybe it might be NECA. Hopefully, we'll see some A-Team figures. I'd love to get those.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or
That
maybe
would
if
be
it
cool.
was
Or
like
18 band?
or like just that, or even if it wasn't NECA, maybe Super 7. They might that might be something that could fit with them.
Yeah.
But I would,
That's
in
awesome.
general, I would just love to see some A-Team figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you bring that up. I'm like, yeah, he's right. There's not really any good representation of A-Team out there that I can think of.
Yeah.
I can see NECA doing it.
So Mattel,
Mm-hmm.
NECA would be, yeah, cool. All right, let's Mezco. You dabbled in Mezco?
Haven't dabbled in Mezco yet. I think this was actually something that I mentioned during that stream where Prime was talking about the Mayfix RoboCop.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I would like to get a Mezco figure. I think during the show I was talking about it, and then I was looking at the Wolverine. I'm like, it's also a lot of money. I don't know if I want to spend that much money on a figure just yet. Because they're like each of their figures are very expensive between them and Hot Toys.
Yes.
But their Wolverine, if I have a chance to get that, I would like to because it looks like a very detailed figure, tons of accessories. Looks like it'll be a lot of fun to have on display and stuff. So.
Yeah, that Wolverine, gosh, one of the best they've done in a while, in my opinion. The 8 head sculpts, just everything they included with that. So I understand though, because Mezco's a big investment, and those figures are a little bit different than other stuff. So yeah, definitely, don't get into it unless you're, ready for it, because it might start another addiction for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I think that Wolverine would be a good starting point for sure. Tamashii Nations.
Tamashii Nations. Now I don't know. I could be wrong, so correct me on this. Is Tamashii Nations still involved with SH Figure Arts or no?
I think they are, but it's like a separate faction. So like Gundam, the model kits.
Oh, okay.
That kind of stuff.
For Tamashii Nations,
they do a lot of DBZ too.
That's what it
DBZ,
is.
yeah, that's right.
So I haven't watched Dragon Ball or anything like that. I've seen a lot of stuff in terms of different people that do like pose videos on them, just make reviews of them, and they look fantastic. Like they look like they're a lot of fun to pose. I don't think I would ever get into that side of their company just yet, just because Dragon Ball isn't something that I think interests me in particular. Maybe if I start watching the show and then it's like, okay, this is actually kind of fun. I'm enjoying this. Maybe I'll try a figure from them. I know I have built one Gundam, and that was, I think, what is it? The RX 78-2 or something like that. I think that's one that I built. Smaller sort of scale version, and that was a lot of fun. If I could do more stuff like that in the future, like just kind of here and there on the channel as a stream, or maybe just there's just like a quick video on it, just like sharing my thoughts. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I definitely think you should take a chance on DBZ, especially you appreciating kind of the older stuff. It's like such a great old cartoon. But go with Dragon Ball Z. Maybe not so much Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's okay, but I think Z is where it really started ramping up and getting cool. I feel like you would really like it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Dragon Ball Z is awesome. Third-party lines. You collect any third-party stuff?
Third party. So I haven't done anything with third party yet. I've seen a lot of stuff. So like I think that was what was it, the Felix Toys. I
Yep.
think they did like a Rorschach figure.
Yep.
I think I could be wrong, but I think that was them that also did something with the Heath Ledger Joker recently.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
those
yeah,
them too.
so that was that one looks good. If I'm not sure how much the pricing is on it because I just watched a video on it the other day and I was like, that actually looks like a lot of fun. I do like Dark Knight movies. I haven't started a third party line. If I have the opportunity, maybe I can pick that up, or maybe it would be a different figure. Because I definitely want to do kind of like if I can at least try my hand at even if it's just starting with the smaller sort of companies that aren't that pricey, and just starting with like one line at a time, just kind of sharing my quick thoughts on it, and then testing out different lines to see which ones I like, and just giving also that perspective in the videos. Then I think that also be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and if like the Felix Toy stuff is as close as you can get to Mezco from a third party perspective, in my opinion.
Okay.
And the Rorschach's amazing. That new clown looks really good. I think it's just awesome to see third party in general becoming a larger thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to be really afraid of third party. But
and
nowadays,
the quality's really good now.
Yeah, the quality's really gone up there for sure. All right. Last but not least, well, depending on who you are, but McFarlane Toys.
Okay. All right. So McFarlane Toys. I have not. That's not true. That's actually a lie. I picked up, and I think I've shared the story once. I picked up the side-eye Batman. I picked up side-eye Batman. It was at Target. They had a sale going on, and it was like a certain percentage off on McFarlane stuff. And I also had a credit that they mailed to me in the mail, and I was like, I don't know why they sent me this, but I'll take it, go get a figure. I saw that they had to sell the DC stuff, and I was like, let me pick this up. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to grab this figure. As I'm sitting in the car and just on the way back, looking at the figure, he keeps giving me the side eye. I'm like, I don't like that you're giving me that look. I don't think I can stand this figure. So I never took it out the box, never did a video on it. And the following day, I took him back to Target, and that's where it ended for me.
Damn, he didn't even make it home.
he didn't even stay. He didn't even stay. But due to an agreement that I made with a friend of mine, Pack Photos, I said that when I hit 1K on YouTube, I will get my personal McFarlane figure. So at some point, we're gonna plan out the video. Hopefully, that can be a video of just like picking up my first McFarlane, and then of course making the video and sharing my thoughts on it. And it potentially might be Avatar related because I really enjoyed the new movie, and I did like the first movie as well. And I'm like, those figures actually look like they could be potentially like a lot of fun to mess with and just kind of see how those are. And I've been seeing like the Banshees and stuff that they made for it. So it might start with that line, if not something from DC.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I think if you're going to go with McFarlane, definitely go on discount.
Yeah,
because they're always on discount.
As well.
They're always on clearance. Yeah. Well, cool. There you have it, guys. Kurt's thoughts on 12 different lines. And, this brings us to the end of the show. So it's really been a great time talking to you, Kurt. For anybody, if you have not discovered Kurt, please go subscribe to him on YouTube at The Geek Effect. He's also on Instagram at The Geek Effect. You won't be disappointed. Great toy photography, great reviews.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for your future, man. So anything else that you want to plug before we let you go?
I'm like, I always feel like so bad when I do this. So I'm not like one to plug things, but I do make from time to time like action figure stands. This is actually something that I think was another milestone for me last year, to kind of go back to that question real quick.
Nice.
Started making wire flight stands, selling them on Etsy. And like within the past few months, that just kind of like shot up, and I've been seeing a lot of like support with that, which has been great. And I mean, it's been a lot of work now because it's like, okay, the orders just like keep coming in, but like I've enjoyed being able to kind of like delve in that and try and test out different things within the hobby.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in those flight stands, if you're looking for some, go to It's Geek Effect Instagram. He's got a link tree that'll take you directly to that. You can order some for yourself. But yeah, hey, thanks again, Kurt. Really had fun talking to you, man.
I did too.
Hope to see you again sometime soon.
Most definitely.
All right, we'll go ahead and say goodbye to Kurt.
Yeah, man, that freaking time went by so quick. Like, how did it go by so fast? I'm telling you, we get a bunch of geek nerds in the same room, man. Hopefully you guys liked it. let us know what was your favorite part.
Yeah, as you guys are watching the video,
future questions.
Make sure you hit the like button, give us a thumbs up. Very small gesture that goes a long way. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the video. And if you're not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you subscribe to the Figure Booth and you hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. But yeah, that's the end of it, guys. Until next time.
You guys made it.
So Prime, where can they find you?
You can catch me all under Prime to the First, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And you can catch me at FigureFan_Nate on Instagram, Vero, and Facebook. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Till next time, guys.